Yes, in this recording, we will discuss about level 3 questions. Level 3 questions of plant growth and development chapter. The first question is like this. In plants, growth is option A, restricted to certain regions or structure. Option B, irreversible. Option C, change in size. Option D, all of the above. So when you take the option A, the growth can be restricted to a particular part of the plant body. Okay, so one example I can take. If we take the peduncle of the racemose type of inflorescence, so where we will say the peduncle is said to be indefinite peduncle, which means they keep on growing. Okay, but whereas in case of a cymose inflorescence, the peduncle is said to be definite, means the peduncle will be terminated by a flower at the tip, so they shows a definite growth. Okay, so the growth can be restricted to the particular part of the plant body. Okay, best example we can take this the peduncle of the inflorescence as the example. And even when you see a leaf, a structure, a size of the leaf, see size in the sense we will take the area of the leaf. See if you put the graph to measure the area of the leaf, so when you take the growth on y-axis, okay, and when you take the time, see gradually what happens, there will be an increase in the area of the leaf. So when the leaf attains a particular phase, when they get maturation, so the leaf stops growing further. Okay, so they reaches the stationary phase. Means up to some extent, the leaf can grow in size, means which can increase its area. So behind the limit, it cannot grow further. So when you plot the graph, we'll get the sigmoid curve. Means option A is suggesting that the growth is restricted to a particular area. And option B, irreversible. See, growth is always irreversible. Okay, we cannot get it back, the organism or any part of the plant body, into its initial stage. Right? So it is irreversible in nature. And change in size. See, when the growth occurs, obviously the mass of the plant body also increases. So the given option A, B, C, all are correct. So we'll go with the option D. Next question. Growth is primarily affected by two climatic factors. Which are those? Option A, light and temperature and relative humidity, light and wind, rainfall and temperature. So it's a direct question. We will take the option A. See, light and temperature can influence the growth. When we talk particularly about the temperature, so this is a graph. Yes, see the growth, effect of temperature and on growth. See here, the growth increases when there is an increase in the temperature. Okay, so when they reach the optimum level, okay, what happens? Even though when you increase the temperature, when there is an increase in temperature in atmosphere, so the growth rate will be decreases. The growth rate will be decreases. Okay, so the reason may be you know that the enzymes will be active up to particular temperature. Okay, so when there is increase in temperature behind the optimum level, okay, the enzymes which are responsible for any metabolic activity in the plant body, they may undergo denaturation. Okay, because you know that the hapoenzyme part of the enzyme, it is a proteinaceous in nature, so they may undergo denaturation, so that lose the catalytic activity, so that may cause decrease in the rate of growth in the plant body. Okay, even high temperature also helps in the, means it causes the leaf burn in the plant body, as you seen in the figure. And obviously the light is required for growth, because sunlight is essential for food synthesis in the green portion of the plant body. Okay, so the whatever the carbohydrate produced as a result of photosynthesis will be act as a respiratory substrate. So by using that energy during the respiration, the plant can use it for the growth. So we'll take option A as the answer for this question. Light and temperature. Next one. Which of the following instrument can be used to record plant growth by seconds? Option: arc axonometer, arc indicator, space marker disc, and chrysograph. Okay. For this question, the answer is chrysograph. Chrysograph. See, it was developed by Jagdish Chandra Bose. Jagdish Chandra Bose. Okay. So, which is used to measure the growth of the plant body. So, that instrument I displayed here. This is the instrument called as chrysograph. It was developed by Jagdish Chandra Bose. Okay, so which is used to measure the growth of the plant body. And in the option A, they are given arc axonometer. Yes, so this is the arc axonometer. So which is used to measure particularly the height of the stem here. Okay, so which will be having a gradations in a arc manner. So where the needle is inserted here. Okay, so here a thread is tied at the tip of the growing tip of the plant body. So when the plant height keep on increases, okay, here you can see the pull, a weight here. So this used to pull, okay, it used to comes down. As a result, the needle start moves towards the downward. So by using these gradations on the arc, we can able to measure the height of the plant body. Okay, it is about the arc axonometer. And in the option C, they are given space marker disc. Space marker disc. So this is usually used to mark the leaf. It is used to mark the plant leaves. Okay. So the fourth question, maximum growth rate occurs in. Options are exponential phase, stationary phase, senescent phase, and lag phase. See, this question is based on the geometric growth of the plant body. So when you plot a graph for the geometric growth, you will get the, so this is a y-axis is the growth rate, x-axis time is taken on x-axis. So when you see the growth rate in case of geometric growth, so geometric growth includes a division of one cell. Okay, a mitosis division of one cell to form a two cells. When they divides to form a four cells. When they divides form a 16 cells, 64 cells, like this. It's the division takes place in a geometric manner. Okay, so the cell increasing in a geometric manner. So when you plot a graph for this kind of geometrical growth, so initially it will be very slow. The growth rate will be very slow initially. Okay, so when the time extends further, okay, the division of cells undergoes, means the mass of the cells undergoes very rapid in production. So this suddenly increases in growth rate. Okay, and at a particular, when the plant body, or any tissue, when they attains a maximum growth, so the growth rate becomes stationary. Okay, so here this initial stage of growth will be taken as a lag phase, lag phase, and this rapid growth is taken as the exponential phase. It is also called exponential phase or log phase, and this is the stationary phase. Okay, stationary phase. The next phase also can be taken for some of the plant parts, such as a leaf, that may form a decline phase. But usually we'll stop here only. So we'll get the S curve, sigmoid curve. So in this sigmoid curve, the exponential phase, okay, in this phase we can see the maximum growth rate. Okay, so option A is the answer. Next one, plant growth is ultimately regulated by environmental cues, hormones, signal transduction pathways, genome of the plant. See, whatever the character, it may be a structural aspects, sorry, structural entity of the plant body, or any animal body, or functional entity of the organism, that all coded by genes only. Okay, so the genes are responsible for all the characters of the organism. It may be given as a structural character or functional character. Okay, so the main thing is genes only. They used to code for the entire structural and functional aspects. When you talk about the growth, see, growth is a result of the body mass, isn't it? An increase in the body mass by internally, we'll call it as a growth. Okay, so the genes has to code for respective proteins. So the basic thing for the growth is genome of the plant. Option D, genome of the plant. Of course, environmental influence will be there. Environmental influence will be there. Based on the particular environment or particular habitat, the plant body can show some kind of adaptations. Okay, but when you talk about their characters, they are derived from the a particular genes only. Here growth is also one of the character. Okay, so it's all given by a genome of the plants. So you know that for the growth, the plant body may require a phytohormones. Hormones are, they are also result of the gene actions only. Okay, ultimately the gene is the responsible for all the characters. Next question, maximum amount of growth in root occurs in the presence of light at its apex, behind the apex, in the presence of soil. See, the growth in the roots. We know that the roots are said to be positively geotropic in nature, and they are negative to phototropic. Okay, negative to phototropic. They are negatively phototropic and positively geotropic in nature. So the when you take the option A, presence of light, see, light cannot influence the growth of the root. Okay, so because they are growing away from the sunlight, means towards the soil, so A cannot be the answer. At its apex, see, the maximum amount of the growth in the roots occurs not at the apex, because at the apical region, there will be a root cap will be there. Root cap will be followed by a meristematic zone will be there. So that I can show in the diagram. So when we draw a diagram of root, the root will be having a root cap, particularly in the terrestrial plants. So the apex of the root, okay, it will be a zone for the apical meristem. It is a zone for the apical meristem. So it is called as meristematic zone. So this meristematic zone is followed by a zone called as elongation zone. Elongation zone. So in this elongation zone, we can see elongated cells. Okay. So this is the phase where the plant shows a more growth. Okay. Elongation zone. And followed by elongation zone, we will see a maturation zone. It is a maturation zone where we can see the differentiation of the cells into a particular tissues. Okay. So and we also know that the root hairs used to arise from the maturation zone only. So when we talk about the growth of the root, maximum growth that takes place at the elongation zone only. Means it is behind the apex. This is the apical part, root, apical meristem it is. So behind the apex of the root, we can see the elongation of the root zone. So we'll go with the option behind the apex. Behind the apex means it's the elongation zone. Zone of elongation. Next, the stimulus for geotropism in roots perceived by stimulation of geotropism in roots perceived by root cap, quiescent center, root tip, none of this. So the stimulation of the geotropism, it is perceived by root cap. Okay, root cap. So geotropism will seen in the terrestrial plants. Terrestrial plants will be having a root cap that used to cover the root apical meristem. Okay, so this grow to start moving to means this shows polarity towards the soil. Okay, so option A is the answer. Eighth one, growth is defined as increase in the weight, increase in the size, change of shape, permanent increase in dry weight accompanied by permanent increase of size and volume. Okay. See option D, it is explained elaborately. Okay, not only all this alone, it's a cumulative all the things. So we'll go with the option D. It is a permanent increase. I told here in the first question only, the growth is irreversible. Okay. So when the growth happens, it cannot be reversed back, right? So it's a permanent increase in the dry weight. Okay, it is a dry weight means after the dehydration, whatever the mass left behind, that you will taken as a dry weight. So when that means you have to take the growth in the dry weight only. Okay, not with the wet weight. Means you have to go for dehydration. So accompanied by permanent increase of the size and volume of the plant body. So option D is the perfect definition or explanation for the growth. Ninth question. Growth in higher plants takes place. Growth in higher plants takes place by growing point scattered all over the plant body, by growing points confined to certain regions of the plant, in the entire plant body, in the area part of the plant. See, in case of the plant growth in concert, see there will be a first phase called as juvenile phase. Juvenile phase, okay, and in this case, see there will be a vegetative growth takes place. Vegetative growth will be there. Okay, so after which the plant attains a maturation phase. maturation phase. Means the plant start to bear a flowers. Okay. So up to in case of juvenile phase, so the plants keep on growing. So when they reaches the maturation phase, okay, so the plant growth may stops. But in some portion, as I mentioned in the first question, the growth is restricted. Okay, the growth is restricted. They may show even the further growth even when they reach a particular height or width. It depends on the plant body. So option B is the answer. Okay, this question is again indirectly it is repeating by growing points confined to certain regions of the plants. Okay. 10th question. Growing points present at only meristematic cells, mature cells, dead cells, slowly enlarging cells. See, growing points they represent by meristematic regions only. Okay. So if you take the apical meristem, okay, the root apical meristem RAM, it is at the tip of the plant body. SCIM, shoot apical meristem, is at the tip of the a main shoot, including the branches, tip of the branches, SCIM, shoot apical meristem. Okay, and some of the point which may give rise to either a flower or a bud, they will be having a point of the meristematic cells. So they shows they keep on showing the growth. Okay, A is the answer. Meristematic cells. 11th question. The growth of the plant body takes place by lateral meristem, apical meristem, both apical and lateral, none of the above. So it's a direct question, option C. See, apical meristem, particularly root apical meristem, they increase the length of the root, and shoot apical meristem, they increase the length of the shoot system. Okay, means they helps in the they increase the vertical growth of the plant body. They increase the vertical growth. Okay, but when you talk about the lateral meristem, they used to present at the lateral side of the plant body. Okay, so this lateral meristem they give us a KMBM on further during the secondary growth of the plant body. During secondary growth, they give the KMBM. Okay, so this KMBM that helps in the increase the girth of the plant body. Particularly, this we will see in the dicot plants. In dicot plants, the girth of the plant body increases during secondary growth by the activity of the vascular cambium. By the activity of the vascular cambium. Okay, so option C is the answer. 12th question. Which one of the following is are the phases of growth? Phase of cell formation, phase of cell enlargement, phase of cell maturation. All of the three are correct. Which of the following are phases of growth? See, when you talk about a growth, there should be cell formation. Means the new cells has to create by cell division. Okay, and the formed cell has to enlarge. It has to enlarge in size, and it has to show the maturation also. Okay, so it all three should be required to talk about the phases of growth. Okay, so the cell may show the differentiation. It's all required. Okay, so option D is the answer. 13th question. The growth rate is highest. The growth rate is highest in red light, white light, green light, blue light. Say this question, it is also relevant to the photosynthesis. This question is relevant to the photosynthesis. See, you know that there will be a visible spectrum in the light radiation. Okay, which varies from approximately from 400 nanometer to 800 nanometer range. So in the visible red light, they will be having Vibgyer. So in particular, these colors of light, red light. In the red light, the plant shows a maximum rate of photosynthesis. Maximum rate of photosynthesis. Red light is followed by blue light. Okay. In the blue light, the plants can also show a high rate of photosynthesis. But in case of green light, the plant shows very less rate of photosynthesis. So when the photosynthesis occur, particularly in a dark reaction, the glucose is going to synthesize, which is a carbohydrate. Okay. So the glucose act as a respiratory substrate to derive the energy. Okay. So as usual, the energy is required for the growth. Okay. So indirectly, the photosynthesis helps in the growth of the plant body. So we will go with the option A in the red light. Which one increases in the absence of light? Uptake of minerals, uptake of water, elongation of internodes, option D, ascent of sap. See, in absence of light, see particularly the plants which are growing in some kind of shadow areas, means plants which are growing under the canopy of the forest. Okay, there what happens? The elongation of internode increases. The internodal portion of the plant body that increases. Okay, so it may be to keep the plant high in order to get the sunlight. So this adaptation can be seen in those kind of plants which are growing in the dark areas particularly. The plants grows in complete darkness. In complete darkness, they are marked as etiolation. Marked as etiolation. The adaptations in this kind of etiolated plants, particularly they will be having a pale green color of leaves. Okay, they will be having a pale green color. Okay, and along with this, they will be having a long internodal regions, and particularly to the leaf lamina, it will be folded. Okay, the leaf lamina will be folded. Okay, see, it may be due to avoid the transpiration rate. The leaf lamina may shows the inward folding, and the leaf will be having a pale green color because it's growing in the shadow, in dark areas. No sunlight is available for the photosynthesis properly. Okay, so those kind of plants are petiolated plants. So option C is the answer. Question number 15. Senescence as an active developmental cellular process in the growth and functioning of a flowering plant. It is indicated in vessel and trached differentiation, leaf abscission, annual plants, floral pods. See, senescence, it refers to the old age in the plant body. Means we can say, as I told earlier, we can see the juvenile phase, okay, vegetative phase, maturation phase, and senescence phase. Senescence phase is the age of old age. So what happens? This phase usually the indicated in the given option is leaf abscission. Leaf abscission indicate the senescence. Means periodically the plant may shed the leaves. Okay. So the leaf abscission takes place by with the help of the hormone ABA. ABA is abscisic acid. Abscisic acid. ABSCISIC, abscisic acid. See, as we know that abscisic acid, it is a plant growth inhibiting hormone. Okay, it is a plant growth inhibiting hormone, which means it not involved in the means it's not involved in the plant growth. Okay, so that's why it will comes under the growth inhibiting hormone. Abscisic acid and ethylene, there are two hormones comes under the growth inhibiting hormones, means they are not involved in the plant growth. So this abscisic acid, which promotes abscission of leaves and even the abscission of the flower and the fruits. Abscission means they used to means they helps in the falling off or withdrawal of the leaves from the plant body or flower or ripened fruit. Okay, so this abscisic acid, they used to form a layer called as abscission layer. Abscission layer at the region of, if you take the example of a leaf abscission, so that used to cause abscission layer at the petiole. You know that the petiole is the stalk of the leaf. Okay, so it is a petiole that gives rise to the leaf. So it causes a layer here, abscission layer. So this abscission layer that counteract the entry of the that counteract the entry of the required a nutrient material. Okay, so as a result, what happens? The particular area in this the particular area, the cells used to die gradually. As a result, the petiole portion becomes weakens and they used to fall off. Okay, so this is the base of the leaf. This is the base of the leaf, and it is a petiole, and it is a leaf. Okay, so the leaf used to fall off along with this base because of the formation of abscission layer that prevents the entry of the food material. So it becomes weakens. Same kind happens in case of pedicel. Pedicel means a stalk of the flower, and even at the ripened fruit. Okay, abscisic acid helps in the senescence. So option B is the answer for this particular question. Axanometer. Axanometer is required for steady rate of transpiration, measuring rate of respiration, finding out the rate of photosynthesis, calculating rate of growth. See, as I explained earlier in the previous question, it helps in the calculating the rate of growth. Okay. See, axanometer. Okay. So there was a one figure which was having a arc like gradations, isn't it? So it should be having a gradations. So the needle was fixed here. Okay. There will be a pulley is there. Here the weight is, they have tied the weight, and another thread they are tied to the growing tip of the growing tip of the plant body. The growing tip of the plant body. Okay. So the plant used to grow vertically. So what happens? The needles move towards the downward. So by reading these gradations, we can calculate the rate of plant growth. Okay. So option D is the answer. Okay. In option there, they have taken studying the rate of transpiration. So the transpiration rate will be measured by using an apparatus called as photometer. It is also called as transpirometer. Transpirometer. In option B, measuring rate of respiration. See, measuring the rate of respiration, the instrument called as respirometer. Respirometer will be used to measure the rate of respiration and finding out the rate of photosynthesis. To measure the rate of photosynthesis, see here we are measuring the amount of oxygen liberated. Okay, so by using that as a measurement, we can use Ardus apparatus. By using this Ardus apparatus, we can measure the amount of oxygen liberated in the form of a bubbles. Okay, when you take the any kind of a specimen of the hydrophilic plant. Okay, so Ardus apparatus. We'll move on to the next question. Seventeenth one. In longitudinal section of root tip, various regions of growth may be seen in sequencing from top towards root of the root cap, towards root cap. See, this I explained already by drawing the tip of the root. See, the tip will be covered by a root cap. Okay, so at the particular apex of the root, so this root apex will be a place for a meristematic zone, which will be having apical meristem, so which is followed by a zone of elongation or elongation zone, and that is followed by maturation zone or zone of maturation. Okay. So in a longitudinal section of the root tip, various regions of growth may be seen in sequence from top towards root cap. Okay. So then we'll go with cell maturation, cell elongation, and cell division. So cell division it will be more in case of the meristematic zone. So we'll go for option B. 18th question. The process in which mature differentiated cells reverse to meristematic activity to form callus is called as. See, the direct answer is de-differentiation. De-differentiation. Okay. So the mature differentiated cells, they again gain the meristematic activity. Okay. See, in the normal cases, we know the meristematic cells, which is actively dividing cell, when they undergoes division, it forms a two cells. Okay. So among two cells, one cell remain as a meristematic, and other cell, okay, that turns into a permanent cells. So that's why we used to say that the permanent tissue, they are derivatives of the meristematic tissues only. Okay, permanent tissues are derived by meristematic tissues. So when this cell, which is a meristematic, when they undergoes further division, again it forms in two cells. Among two cells, one remains as meristematic. Okay, and another one cell turns into a permanent cells. So in each division, it keeps on adding one permanent cells. So this kind of growth is called as arithmetic growth. Arithmetic growth. Okay. So here the permanent cell means the last activity of cell division. Then only we can say permanent cell. So this permanent cell again they regain the activity of the meristem. Okay. So a mature cell differentiated to meristematic cell activity called as de-differentiation. See, in the tissue culture, I can give the example. In the tissue culture, when you put any explant means any part of the plant body, when you put explant on the nutrient medium, okay, so they start divide into a number of cells to form a homogeneous mass of cells. They are called as callus. Okay, so this is the callus which obtains in the tissue culture. Okay, see in the explant means as I told, we have taken any part of the plant body. It may be a leaf part, stem part, any piece of plant. Means that cell, the tissue will be having a permanent cells only. Okay, any piece of the plant, stem tip, root tip, leaf tip, whatever it is. So that part of the plant body, usually they will be having a permanent tissues. So when we put on the nutrient medium, they again regain the property of cell division to form a mass of homogeneous cells called as callus. So this property is there, no? Attaining the, again they regaining the property of division, that is called as dedifferentiation. 19th question. The period between formative phase and maturation phase of plant growth is known as, the period between formative phase and maturation phase of plant growth is known as, say, it is a phase of elongation. It is a phase of elongation. Option D. See, as I told, in case of a sigmoid curve, which is for a geometrical plant growth, geometrical growth. See, the initial stage will be called as a lag phase. It is a lag phase. So where you will see very slow plant growth. Okay, and this is a stationary phase where the plant growth remains constant. But this phase is called as exponential phase or log phase. So here the growth rate will be maximum, right? So the phase of elongation, the phase of elongation that comes between the formative phase and maturation phase. Okay, so D is the answer. 20th question. Rapid and dramatic increase in shoot length is called. So it is called as option A, bolting. Bolting. Rapid and dramatic increase is called as bolting. So usually bolting will be done in the plant body to increase the number of flowers. To increase the number of flowers, okay, they will go for bolting. So particularly bolting will be induced by treating with a phytohormone called as gibberellin. Okay, gibberellin is a phytohormone, a plant hormone. Okay, so which stimulate rapid stem elongation. Okay, and that conversion and that convert the plant branches into floral axis. Gibberellin convert plant normal branches into floral axis to give rise to the number of flowers. So that itself, when they fertilize, they are going to yield more amount of, they give more productivity, more yield. When the number of flower increases, the yield will be obviously more. Okay, so option A is the answer. In the option B, they are given scarification. So scarification, it usually used to conduct to dissolve the coat of the seeds. Okay, means it can be done by a scratching. Okay, when you keep on scratching to any rough surface, the seed coat can be removed, isn't it? So it is very important in to overcome from the dormancy. Okay, so during dormancy, to overcome the dormancy, in natural case, the seed has to break its coat, isn't it? So we can remove the seed coat by doing this scarification. Means generally it means removing of the seed coat, removing of the seed coat. When you remove the seed coat, so the plant can overcome from the dormancy as soon as possible, isn't it? So there are many methods are there to overcome from the dormancy. So this is also can be employed. Okay. Removing the, we can say removing the seed coat by scratching towards the a rough surface, or we can say weakening the seed coat. Any kind of alternation can be done. Okay. And the option C is night break effect, which means here there is a note, a phenomenon exhibited by many plants, night break effect. It's a phenomenon exhibited by many plants whereby a period of light administered artificially during the night, even if only of short duration or low intensity. So will interferes with the normal flowering rhythm of the light. Okay. So by administrating artificial light at the night, even for the short duration or even at the low intensity, can interfere with the normal flowering rhythm of the plant body. That is called as night break effect. Okay. So the artificial light can able to influence, can able to affect the normal flowering in the plant body. So option, okay. Next one, triple response growth. Option D, they're taken as a triple response growth. So triple response in plant. So this is belongs to the ethylene. Ethylene. See, ethylene shows triple response in the plant body, means which causes the short shoot, fat shoots, and increased lateral root growth. Okay, so these three responses will be caused by the action of the ethylene on the plant body. So it is called as triple response. It is induced by ethylene. Ethylene is a plant growth inhibitor hormone. Okay. So for this question, option D is the answer. Sorry, option A is the answer. 20th. Next question. Axanometer is meant for measuring. Again, it's a repeating question. Respiratory activity, photosynthetic activity, growth activity, osmotic pressure. Answer C, growth activity. Which one of the following triggers seed germination? Okay. See, seeds imbibe in water, seeds released from the fruit, seeds undergo chemical changes, all the above. Okay. So which one triggers seed germination? So as we know that when we sow the seeds in the soil, the seed remains in the a phase of dormancy. Okay, a phase of dormancy. So in this dormancy, the seeds remain as, means the particularly the enzymes. Okay, so the enzymes require a optimum conditions. Even we know that the enzyme will be activated in the presence of the water, isn't it? The water is required for the enzyme action, right? So the seeds used to imbibe the water during this condition, during in the dormancy. Okay, so when there is a proper amount of water, when they imbibe into the a seed, okay, the seeds start to break its seed coat and they get germinate into the seedlings. Okay, so imbibition is very important during the seed dormancy. Okay, so option A is the answer. Seeds imbibe in the water. Next, which of the following is not characteristic of changes associated with winter dormancy in many species of temperature plant? Which of the following is not characteristic of changes associated with winter dormancy in many species of temperature plants? See, for this question, the answer is decrease in solute concentration of the sap. See, decrease in solute concentration is not a feature of a changes associate of the winter dormancy plants. Okay, so remaining all they are related. Development of wax covered bud scale, high concentration of abscisic acid and leaf abscission. It all will be there for the temperate plants, but not the decrease in solute concentration in the sap. Question number 24. Which of the following may function to break dormancy in the seeds? Penetration of seed coat, leaching of inhibitory compounds by water, exposure of the fire, all of the above. Okay. Which of the following may function to break dormancy in the seeds? See, penetration of seed coat. It helps in the dormancy, to break the dormancy. Leaching of inhibitory compound by water. It is also correct. Okay. The exposure of the fire. See, all are required. All can be done to overcome from the dormancy in the seeds. Differentiation in plant is open because cells or tissues arising out of the same meristem. Differentiation in plant is open because cells or tissues arising out of the same meristem. Options are have same structure at maturity. See, option B is the answer. They have different structures at the maturity. It's a direct question with regard to the differentiation of the tissues. So they will be having a different structures at maturity. Right. So when the plant cell or a tissue means you know that they will be having a same origin, they are having a same structural origin, and they perform a particular function, isn't it? So means you know that the cells combines to form a tissues, right? So here, which undergoes a differentiation, means we can see the next level, means they differentiate to form a particular type of tissues, right? So some of the cells they may give rise to the vascular tissues. Some of the cells they give rise to the cortical tissues like this. So a cell shows a differentiation. When you see the root portion, as I told, there is a zone of maturation. In the zone of maturation, so there is a process called as differentiation takes place. So where the cells give rise to a particular type of tissues. Okay. So option B is the answer. Have different structure at maturity. When they undergoes maturation, so when they undergoes a differentiation, they form a different kind of tissues. Each tissue will be having their own functions. 26. The observation seen in the exponential phase of geometric growth is that. See, option B is the answer. In case of geometric growth, this I explained already. So you will get the sigmoid curve, lag phase, stationary phase, lag phase, stationary phase, and sorry, lag phase, log phase, or exponential phase. This is the stationary phase, isn't it? It's a sigmoid curve we will get for the geometrical growth. Okay. So the observation seen in the exponential phase, this one, exponential phase of geometrical growth is okay. Progeny cells stop dividing. So this cannot be the answer because geometrical growth is a phase of high productivity during the growth because of more cell division. Both progeny cells follow mitotic division. Only one progeny cells follow mitotic division. Hmm. So it is a option C, I think. All of the above. See, option both progeny cells follow. Yes, it is correct, no? See, for example, one cell when they divides, it forms the two cells. In next division, what happens? This both two cells, they shows the division to form a four cells. In next division, all these four cells, they involved in division to form eight cells, isn't it? So this happens in case of geometrical growth. But when you take the arithmetic growth, say when one meristematic cell, when it divides, it forms a two cells. Now what happens? One cell turns into a permanent cell, and one remains as a meristematic. In next division, again this meristematic among the two daughter cells of this parent cell, one cell shows a division to form another two cells. But this another daughter cell is there, no? Which turn into a permanent cell. This will remain as a permanent. It lack the property of division. It not involved in cell division. So in each division, okay, only one cells are keep on adding. So we will get the graph in a linear manner. Okay. So for geometrical growth, both the daughter cells are involved. So both progeny cells follow mitotic division. So option B is the answer. 27th. Avena coleoptile test to find out the quality of growth promoting hormones was discovered by, say, answer is F.W. Wendt. He was working on the discovery of the auxin. Okay, so he worked on the Avena coleoptile. Okay, coleoptile is a sheath which covers a plumule portion. Means it is a which is given as to a shoot system. Okay, so coleoptile was working on Avena coleoptile during the discovery of the a hormone called as auxin. Okay, F.W. Wendt. Question number 28. Auxin inhibits the growth of. Say, auxin inhibits the growth of lateral axillary buds. They inhibit the growth of lateral axillary buds. Okay, means auxin promotes apical dominancy. Auxin promotes apical dominancy, but they inhibit the lateral buds. They inhibit the lateral buds. So that's why we can say auxin helps in the to increase the plant growth. Okay, they promote the apical dominancy. Okay, next 29th. Induction of rooting in stem cutting by auxin treatment would be most beneficial in which of the following? Say, in case of bougainvillea, it is generally called as a paper flower plant. So in case of bougainvillea, the root initiation can be achieved, okay, by using the auxin treatment. Okay, so option D. The lower concentration, the lower concentration of the auxin, okay, at the root tip that can initiate and promote the normal roots. Okay, lower concentration at the root tip, they can promote the normal roots. But when the auxin is at higher concentration, okay, so in contrast, they inhibit the elongation of the root. Okay, at higher concentration, the auxin can inhibit the elongation of the root. But at higher concentration, they can promote the lateral roots. At higher concentration of auxin, they can promote the lateral roots. Okay, so indole acetic acid, IAA, indole acetic acid, a paste called as lanolin. A lanolin paste can be used to apply at the cut end portion of the plant body. Okay, a lanolin paste. Okay, so this paste used to apply at the cut end portion of the plant body, so which helps in the initiation of the roots. Okay, particularly say dilute solution. dilute solution dilute solution of NaA. NaA means naphthalene acetic acid. NaA or IBA. IBA means indole butyric acid. So this can also be used for the root initiations. Okay. So for this question, D is the answer. Next, which of the following is not a naturally occurring plant hormone? Not naturally occurring. See, 2,4-D is the answer. The full form is 2,4-dichloro phenoxyacetic acid. 2-chloro-dichlorophenoxyacetic acid. So it is a synthetic oxime actually. It is a synthetic oxime. 2,4-D. One more is there. It is a same class oxime. It is a 2,4,5-T. Okay, 2,4,5-T is there. Means 2,4,5 trichlorophenoxyacetic acid. Okay, so like this many synthetic oximes are there. Okay, so apart from this GA2 means gibberellic acid 2. There are around 60 GA are there, gibberellic acids. Okay, so GA2, gibberellin, IAA, they are the natural phytohormones, natural plant hormones. Okay, we'll move on to the next question. See, not only this 2,4-D, 2,4,5-T, and even some other examples I can give. Synthetic oxides, such as we can take IBA. Okay, IBA. IBA means indole butyric acid. Indole, INDOLE. Indole butyric, BUTYRIC. Butyric acid, IBA. NAA. Just now we discussed here NAA means naphthalene acetic acid. They are the synthetic oxides. Okay, they all are prepared by a biochemist. Next question. Leaf fall occurs when the content of. So it's a repeating question. Option C is the answer. Sorry, option B. See, falling of leaf when they occurs, there is a decrease in the oxygen. Okay, decrease in the oxygen. So what happens? Abscisic acid increases. I told earlier they causes a abscission layer. Okay, so that helps in the weathering of the leaf. So oxygen decreases, abscisic acid increases. So here they are given decreases. So we'll go with the option B. Next, substance which originate at the tip of stem and control growth are. See, at the stem tip, the oxygen will be synthesized. Okay, the oxygen will be originate at the tip of the stem. Okay, so they helps in the they regulate the plant growth. Okay, so there are many functions are there of the oxygen. See, oxygen they promote the means they shows the apical bud dominancy. They shows the apical dominancy and they suppress the activity of the lateral buds. Okay, so oxygen very important one. They helps in the phototropic curvature. Phototropic curvature. So we know that the plant shows phototropism. Okay, the growing tip of the plant body, they used to bend towards the sunlight, isn't it? That is called as phototropic curvature. So Auxin promotes the apical dominancy. They helps in the phototropic curvature. They also helps in the xylem differentiation. They also helps in the root initiation, as now we discussed before. Okay, so they also induce the parthenocarpy, means development of roots without fertilization. Like this, many roles they play, and also they regulate the growth of the stem. Next question: which of the growth substance act as stimulant during nodule formation in leguminous plants? Okay, nodule formation in leguminous plants. See, the answer is IAA. IAA, the full form is IAA. The full form is indole acetic acid. Okay, so IAA actually it is a natural auxin. It is a natural auxin, IAA. So that helps in the a nodule formation during the nodule. It helps in the nodule formation in the leguminous plants. Option C. See, with respect to morphactin, any fluorine compounds, any synthetic fluorine compounds, okay, they are said to be morphactin. So which can have the effect on the morphology of the plant body. Okay, so which can even inhibit the plant growth also. Okay, so they suppress the plant growth. Okay, and also they bring the morphological changes. So it's a fluorine containing compound. Let's move on to the next question. Auxin are mainly produced by apical root meristem, root cambium, apical shoot meristem. See, option C is the answer. Auxin, they mainly produced by apical shoot meristem. Option B. C. Next, indole acetic acid generally inhibits the growth of. See, option IAA. So they inhibits the growth of option A, roots. Okay, they inhibit the growth of the roots. Native auxin, endogenous, is transported in the plant. Okay, options are from the shoot tip in the downward direction, from the root tip in the upward direction, throughout the vascular system in plants by special transport system in the root. See, as I discussed earlier in the previous question, see, auxin they used to synthesize at shoot tip. Okay, they used to synthesize at the shoot tip. So here they used to translocate towards the downside. They move towards the downside. The synthesizing area is the shoot tip. Okay, they used to move towards the downside, means from shoot tip towards the downward direction. So A is the answer. Next, primary precursor of IAA is indole acetic acid. See, the precursor for indole acetic acid synthesis is tryptophan. Tryptophan, it is an amino acid. See, amino acid is required for the synthesis of indole acetic acid in the plant body. Next question. Indole acetic acid called auxin was first isolated from. Indole 3 acetic acid called auxin was first isolated from. See, for this question, the answer is human urine. Option A is the answer. See, a person by name Carl Hatal. Hatal means their co-workers. Okay. So they isolated three types of auxins. They isolated three types of auxins. Okay. So the one auxin is auxin A, auxin B, and One is the heteroauxin. They isolated three types of auxin. One is the auxin A, auxin B, and heteroauxin. Okay, so the auxin A, it was isolated from the human urine. It was isolated from the human urine. Okay, so it is auxin A. Their formula is C18H32O5. Okay, their name is oxane triolic acid. Oxane triolic acid. It was isolated by human urine. Okay, and the same scientist, they go for isolation of the another oxygen, that is oxygen B. Oxygen B. So its formula is C18H30O4. Okay, so it is called as oxanolic acid. Oxanolic acid. See, oxygen B is a oxanolic acid. Oxygen A is oxanotriolic acid. Okay, so this was isolated by using corn germ oil. Corn germ oil. Okay, so later they isolated another oxygen, that is called as heteroauxin, from the human urine again. From the human urine. Okay, so it is called as heteroauxin. So it was identified as indole acetic acid. Indole acetic acid. Okay, so option A is the answer. So they are asking for indole acetic acid. It was also isolated by using a human urine. It is a heteroauxin. Okay, so option A. Carum germ oil, it is for the auxin B. Okay. See, fusarium, it is a fungi actually. It is a fungi. Fusarium is a fungi. So with respect to that fusarium, a person by name Kurosawa, she was working on the rice field. Okay, he was working on the rice field. There he observed that some of the rice seedlings, okay, some of the rice seedlings, they grew around 6 to 7 feet high. Okay, so it was taller. It was more taller compared to other normal rice seedlings. And also he observed that some of the members of this fusarium, particularly Gibberella, Gibberella fuscori. Okay, so it's a synonym. It's a synonym of the fusarium. Okay, so it was grown on these kind of tall plants. Okay, so and he conducted a further experiment. So he succeeded in the discovery of this gibberellins. Means he attempted in the discovery of the gibberellin by observing these kind of things in the rice plant. Okay, we'll move on to the next question. Stem elongation is affected by. Stem elongation is affected by. So the options are like this: gibberellin and florigin, auxin and gibberellin, florigin and kinin, kinin and auxin. So the elongation of stem, it will be affected by auxin and gibberellin. Okay. So as I told earlier, the auxin helps in the cell division and cell enlargement. Okay, they helps in cell division and cell enlargement, and also gibberellin, they helps in the elongation of the stem. So we'll go with the option B, auxin and gibberellin. Okay, with respect to the florigin, Here they are taken as a florigin. So this florigin actually it is a hypothetical hormone. Hypothetical hormone. Okay, just an imaginary hormone. So it is believed that it used to induce the flowering in the plant body. Okay, it induces the flowering in the plant body. And kinin. Okay, kinin, florigin over. See, kinin, it is also a cytokinin hormone. Okay, so it also helps in the a cell division process. So for this question, option B is the answer. Next, apical dominance means suppression of growth of axillary bud by presence of apical bud. Okay, apical bud show its function, but axillary bud will be suppressed. It is called as apical dominance. So auxin is responsible. Sorry, apical dominance will be seen in the auxin. AUXIN. Auxin shows the apical dominancy. Okay. A hormone called as cytokinin. Cytokinin. This work opposite to this auxin with respect to the dominancy. Means the auxin that counteracts auxin counteracts the apical dominancy. Sorry, cytokinin counteracts the apical dominancy. Auxin promotes the apical dominancy. Cytokinin counteracts, means they suppress the apical dominancy, and they promote for the axillary buds. Okay, means they promote for the axillary bud dominancy, not dormancy. Dominance, they promote the axillary bud dominance and suppress the apical dominance. In case of auxin, they suppress the axillary bud dominancy and they promote the apical bud dominance. Okay, next question. Plant hormone associated with climacteric respiration is, see, option C is the answer. Plant hormone associated with climacteric respiration is, that is a ethylene. Okay, ethylene is the answer, which enhances the rate of respiration, which enhances rate of respiration. Okay, during the rate of respiration during the ripening of fruit, during the ripening of the fruit. Okay, so this rise in rate of respiration during the ripening of the fruit is called as respiratory climatic. That is called as respiratory climatic. Okay, so this is done by the, it is a effect of the ethylene, option C. Next, gibberellins can promote seed germination because of their influence on, see, gibberellin will be having the influence on the production of hydrolyzing enzyme. Okay, they having a influence on the production of hydrolyzing enzyme. So they help from the overcoming of the seed dormancy. Okay, they help in the overcome of the seed dormancy. Hence, in some kind of plants, before sowing, the seeds will be treated by gibberellic acid. Okay, so which can helps in the overcome from the seed dormancy as soon as possible. IAA mainly inhibits growth of IAA, indole acetic acid. So it's a repeating question. Option A is the answer. Parthenocarpic tomato fruits can be produced by Options are raising the plants from vernalized seeds, treating the plants with phenyl mercuric acetate, removing androecium of flower before pollen grains are released, treating the plants with low concentration of gibberellic acid and auxins. See, parthenocarpic means development of fruit, development of fruit without fertilization. Okay, it's called as means the fruits are called as parthenocarpic fruits. So which can be produced by treating a plants with a low concentration of gibberellic acid and auxins. Okay, so D is the answer. Auxin, auxin they also can promote the parthenocarpic fruits. Okay, say for example the natural parthenocarpy. It can be seen in example we can say banana. We can see the natural parthenocarpy and some of the grape varieties. Okay, so there we can see the higher concentration of auxin in the ovaries. In this natural parthenocarpy, we can see higher concentration of the auxin in the ovary, so that promotes the parthenocarpy naturally. But in case of other plants, okay, so in other plants the concentration of the auxin increases only after the fertilization, but here it is without fertilization. Okay, so synthetic auxin can be used to produce a seedless or parthenocarpic fruits. Okay, for example, I can say by spraying NAA, naphthalene acetic acid, by spraying this NAA, or we can also use the IBA, indole butyric acid, so which can induce a parthenocarpic fruits. Okay, in case of tomato, example brinjal, watermelon, many other plants. Okay, certain types of grapes, a citrus fruit like orange. So in all these cases, we can induce the parthenocarpic fruits. Next question: an enzyme that can stimulate germination of barley seeds is, okay. See, that is a alpha amylase. Enzyme alpha amylase. They helps in the stimulation of germination in barley seeds. The reason is, see, when the aileron layers are separate from germinating grains, okay, so the enzyme activity will be very important one. Okay, the alpha enzyme activity in the medium increased rate, okay, so that can helps in the germination in case of the barley. Okay, so option C is the answer. So protease, you know about this. They act on the A proteins, invertase. They act on the some of the disaccharides such as sucrose. I can take example. So which can convert glucose into fructose. Okay, disaccharide to monosaccharide. So the lipase which acts on the lipids. Okay, like this amylase which act on the is a carbohydrate. So C is the answer. Foolish seedling or Buchan disease of rice led to the discovery of. See, just now I was explaining here a person by name Kurosawa was working on the rice field. Okay, so there he observed some of the plants which were grown around 6 to 7 feet. So he called those rice plant as a foolish plants. Okay, he called them as a foolish plant. So he called it as a Buchan disease. And also he observed that some of the fungal species, some of the fungal species such as fusarium, fusarium. It was growing on that particular plant, which was grown taller than the other plants. So that he was led to the discovery of the, that is gibberellic acid, GA. Okay, a person by name Kurosawa, et al. And his co-workers, they were working on the rice fields. So there he observed a few taller plants compared to the normal ones, and there he could observe the growth of the fusarium species on the and the same plants. So he called them as a foolish seedlings or bucking disease. So he worked further and he discovered the gibberellic acid. The last question in this recording: pruning of plants promotes branching because the auxiliary buds get sensitized to. Pruning of plants promotes branching because the auxiliary buds get sensitized to. See, option C is the answer. Cytokinin. Cytokinin is the answer. See, pruning in the sense it's a selective removal of the some of the plant parts such as branches or leaves, whatever it is. Okay, so those part will be get sensitized to the action of cytokinin. Okay, so with this I will stop this recording class.